This show is part of the Trans-Podcaster Visibility Initiative.
Lumzer, I'm bored. What plaything do you have to offer me today?
A little something from the SK system again, madam. It is known as what the locals seem to say a fan theory from one of their most recent films.
Hmm.
The movie is titled Day Shift. It stars Jamie Foxx and, in a smaller role, Snoop Dogg.
Got the vampire film?
Yes.
Okay. You can lose the mask and we can talk about this normally. Oh,
Basically, it has, first and foremost, it has a touch of R.I.P.D.,
okay.
touch of Blade, and a touch, I think, like maybe a little bit of John Wick to it.
Okay.
It's a decent mix, but that's not what
It's
we're
a
here to do
vampire
now.
film, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mostly a vampire film, and I want to say it's my fan theory, so take it as you will. And it surrounds Snoop Dogg.
Okay, but oh wait, we're talking about the one that was recently on Netflix.
Right.
Okay, for some reason I was thinking of the one where I can't remember the name of the actor, but the cure to vampirism involves you crashing your car and flying out the windshield. And that was a weird movie.
There's also movies called Night Shift and Day Shift.
Okay.
And it comes out of Russia. I think that's what it is, or the Ukraine area, that block of Europe.
I think this one was American, but I don't know what it was called exactly, but it was weird because they cured vampirism by purposely crashing their car and going out through the windshield. I'm like, yeah, that's a hell of a way to wake up from being immortal.
But this is the Netflix one with Jamie Foxx and Snoop Dogg.
All right.
For those of you who haven't seen it, spoilers. I'm not going to really spoil anything, but throughout the whole movie, you hear Jamie Foxx pay reference to this mythical vampire called El Jefe.
Okay.
You never see this person, and everybody seems to dismiss El Jefe as a myth, as no one's seen the guy, no one knows who he is. It's a myth. It's a vampire myth.
Does this involve a person by the name of Pablo by chance, and a certain associate that he has that's missing a hand?
No, I want to say my theory involves more so Snoop Dogg, but it's one of those things that could go either way.
Okay.
But again, to the folks at home, to spoil it a little bit, it involves vampires being able to roam around during the day. And Jamie Foxx's character is kind of not just hunting vampires, but trying to solve that case. And my theory, again, involves Snoop Dogg.
Right.
All the evidence points to, you get the kind of hint that he's like everybody else, that he's human. He's just that he's been doing this for a while. He's got a reputation. Hence the whole aspect of John Wick. That here's and Snoop Dogg's character is known as simply as either the Black Cowboy or Big J, Big John. And he, because his character's probably been doing this for so long, he has a lot of respect and pull in what's known as the Hunters Union. So towards the end, I'll say this to kind of spoil it and not spoil it. Snoop Dogg's character
doesn't die,
gets bit, and sacrifices himself. We see him get bit, and Jamie Foxx's character is like, "Oh, you've been bit. No, just go. Focus on your family. Go. Just do what you need to do." And Big J, Snoop Dogg, sacrifices himself. You don't really see him die. You just see him let loose a UV bomb. You see the light go off, and after everything is said and done, all you see is a pile of ash. Jamie Foxx's character pick up Big J's cowboy hat and give it to his partner. But you don't really, again, see a body. All you see is piles of ash. But as soon as everything's said and done, and right before the credits roll, out of a manhole cover comes Snoop Dogg. Mm-hmm. And his line is, "The one thing I love about LA is all the vampires." Now, here's where that theory kicks in. It is possible that, one, Snoop Dogg's character, Big J, Big John, is El Jefe, and he just doesn't like the other vampires that are in town. And what better way to get rid of them than join the Hunters Union that kills vampires? And because his character is probably this mythical and a vampire that's so old, he might have become immune, or he's like Blade, or he's like Vampire Hunter D, for those who know anime, that he's able to walk during the day, and he's immune to daylight.
So could the other vampires, but they were using sunscreen.
Right. So either way, you don't really know that. It's led up to the air. Or, here's the other aspect to that fan theory. The character is Snoop Dogg.
Well, here's the other thing.
Now, hear it up. What is the main enemy other than humans or the main nemesis other than humans to vampires? Werewolves. Right. What if Snoop Dogg is not just... What if he's immune to the vampire bite because he's a werewolf?
Shock and terror! With Sasha, the Princess of Darkness, and Chris, the Martinsburg Madman, in Sasha After Dark, the podcast of darkness. Reboot.
As you all may know, I am Miss Sasha Constantine Monroe, aka Sasha the Princess of Darkness. It is After Dark, as you can see. So you are listening to Sasha After Dark, the podcast of darkness. With me, of course, is my co-host, the Martinsburg Madman himself, Christopher Lumzer. I'm gonna need a minute there.
Wait a minute. If things get when things get warmer, I'll have to test the waters outside in a way. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we can. I know I'm poking the screen. Yeah, I can mute things. Cool. I might bring, instead of, as you folks at home have been aware that are watching this on some sort of various platform, I have weird computer issues. But tonight I'm using my phone, and therefore, when weather permits, I will sit outside. I'll have flames flickering in the background, and the quality of the video should be equivalent of how you see Sasha tonight. So hopefully things work out. You'll have a bigger view of my mug, and just that I might have to mute the microphone every now and again because I am sitting outside and it is within very loud earshot of trains. So
gotta go to gumdrops. Remind me of work. So one of the things I want to touch on today, because we're gonna touch on it a little bit later, is Comic-Cons. If you don't know, I'm not being there in an official capacity, but I will be at, of course, the Four-State Comic-Con this weekend coming up here in Hagerstown, Maryland. That's on Saturday the 29th and the 30th, respectively, for Sunday. They open up at 11 a.m. I think it's 11 to 10 or something like that both days. I'm not.
I thought it was like 11 to 6 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And they've got a couple guests. I think it's, what's his name, Miko Hughes?
Yeah, I think he's been a member of, he's a constant, how do I put this? He's a con regular. Mm-hmm. So the one person, to gear up, I'm going to be there repping the Long Coat Mafia Podcast. Will I be there as official capacity? So let me get a little bit closer to the camera. Yes.
But
yes.
however, if you see either of us there, you can definitely hit us up. I'll have some stuff on my podcast. Chris will have some stuff from his podcast, of course, and I'll have stickers.
I might have some stickers. I might have my dice bags with me. Whatever I have left, I'll have some stuff.
Now, I know you're going to be there Sunday. I'm going to be there Saturday and Sunday because we went ahead and just got the weekend pass. But anyways, the reason why I preluded into this past weekend, Chambersburg, downtown Chambersburg, which I reside. Chambersburg haunts me and I haunt it. Ironically speaking, but my kid was over this weekend. They wanted to go down to the Fan Fest that happens every year. It used to be Geek Fest. Prior to that, it used to be Geek Pride Fest. And then certain people threw a fit about calling it Geek Pride Fest, which I just had to roll my eyes at. I'm like, nobody owns the word pride.
You could be, again, Sasha knows in regards to me. So if some of you out there want to cancel me, fine, try to. I don't give a rat's ass. But pride, as Sasha said, no one owns that. You could have pride in being a geek. You could have pride in being a nerd. But, just that the most popular thing is the LGBTQ plus, aspect of things.
And the Coalition of Progress, unfortunately, in town, ironically named Coalition of Progress, is the one who prevents them from using the phrase pride for their geek weekend, which I think is kind of wrong because they could have co-opted the event to promote their event, even though their event sucks. Because it's kind of hostilely taken over from me, but I'm not bitter or anything.
Because we tend to get, for those of you who are familiar with my show, and obviously it's a norm here on Sasha's show, we get derailed. Last year, Martinsburg had their first Pride event.
Oh, my.
I didn't really see, because it fell on the same day as the library's Comic-Con. And they held everything inside instead of outside. I didn't have any privy to what the Pride event was, but I do have a video on me kind of wandering to the event, the Comic-Con, and through everybody setting up. I do have, like, oh, look at these vendors here, and hi, how you doing? Give me your name. My usual aspect, you know how I am.
Yeah.
Tell me what, tell you. It's like, and all that. But some people came in, and some people came in from the event. Some people aren't, and it was very interesting. It's for me, not a member of that community. It's a learning experience. So I will say this: I am grateful that I have Sasha to fall back on in regards to helping me dredge through the, I don't want to say trouble, but the difficult waters for someone on my side of the fence, sexually in regards to certain things. Then, and on that note, Sasha also knows where I work. We had it was a date night. It wasn't like Sasha and her boyfriend. It was two guys on a date night. I think they might have mentioned that they were married. I'm like, okay,
cool.
And one of the things I do is if it's a traditional, I'll say traditional couple, I'll ask if it's a date night. And if they say yes, I say, okay, wingman rules apply. And, it's like, and sometimes I get a look and I'll say, it's mainly from the gals. And I say, well, it means I'll be judging in your favor. So in essence, she can cheat, you can't. And it's a way to play to things. And when they said it was a date night, I went, okay, please. And it's like, I if I'm stepping on tones and I'm being offensive, please let me know. I apologize. But, not to you. This is what I said to him. It's like, I'm more accustomed to traditional couples. How do I wing it? How do I do this? And he's like, they're like, why? It's like, normally I go for wingman rules, but how do I, I'm confused. So I'm going to try to weigh things down the middle. So it's like
tops and bottoms. Pick one. Somebody's got to be a top.
And they smiled and laughed. They understood that I'm trying to be. They smiled and understood that I was trying to be at least be progressive and wanting to make their night more enjoyable without being offensive. And they were very happy for that. And so it's a learning experience. Again, I'm thanking Sasha for at least, I don't want to say holding my hand, but at least helping me through or giving me a slight edge in certain matters of the rainbow community.
See, if it were me, I'd be like, so you guys top bottom or switch? If they said, oh, I'm the top, okay, we'll take your other partner's side here when it comes to rules.
I didn't want to go too far. It's like, I don't want to tread lightly. So I don't, in essence, I don't have that card on me, Sasha, that might give me free reign.
Certified ally is.
Oh, I gotta tell you this. Don't pull a low on me. Basically, a couple of friends of mine down in Florida, a couple of guys I know, he created a get out of jail free card for. He's like, hi, my name is. This card is from. My name is Low. I am this person's certified black friend, and it's a punch card.
Okay.
And it's like every time he's like, yeah, I got a black friend here, just check it off. And he's like, every time it's full, you get a new one. It was just some joke things like, don't tell me I'm going to get a punch card from Sasha that every time I screw up, I have to turn it into the person I'm dealing with, get it checked off, and when there's 10, I got to turn it into Sasha.
We'll get out the little, like Clockwork Orange machine and re-educate you.
Right.
But anyway,
I don't know what you'd make me watch. Just eyes pried open.
It'll probably be House of the Dead. That's punishment enough. On repeat, nonstop, not the comedic version. Wait,
but
maybe
I can tolerate House of the Dead. How is that an issue?
It's a horrible movie. It's bad.
But you're talking to somebody that loves horrible movies.
But this is like, there's bad movies that you can enjoy. House of the Dead is just.
It's me.
Watch it. Just seriously watch it. You'll
I
see
have it in my voodoo library.
Oh, you poor man. When's the last time you watched it?
2 months ago.
Oh, it's awful. I would rather watch the sequel. I think the sequel's better. And yes, I mean the first sequel, because technically there's 3 of them.
Let's try to hate to be the one to rein things in, but try back to Force 8 and gearing up to Force 8.
Anyways, back to FanFest. So we go downtown, and typically in past years when Nerdvana was still there, thankfully they're long gone. I know I'm an asshole, I said thankfully. But thankfully they're long since gone because, of course, they ran their business to the ground, and anybody who tried to do anything in there, if it wasn't about profit, they weren't interested. But the FanFest continues through other sponsors and other guests and other businesses downtown, because I guess downtown realized, oh wait, a Comic-Con does have a draw to it. Oh look, Wayne's Bar is doing it. But the thing is that they were trying hard to have basically like a backup place or a backup venue they could turn to have it indoors in case of rain. Yeah, that kind of fell through. They're aiming to try to do something like that last year. But the reason Willow wanted to go was because they had did a Last of Us Part 2 cosplay as Ellie. And Epic Cosplay, it's going to be at Force State because they're working as one of the people helping with the con. So be able to see it there. But there was supposed to be like a contest with $100 cash prize and a bunch of things. They had to postpone that until July. And I'm like, hey, you have time to add to the cosplay and make it so much better. I said, so don't sweat it. We'll figure out what event they're doing it in July and make sure we're there. But They had pushed the date back earlier in the day, like the time back earlier in the day. It was supposed to start at noon, but the evening before the convention, they switched it to 10 a.m. I'm guessing a lot of people didn't get that memo. I did. We rolled in at 10. I was kind of disappointed because at first I didn't see many vendors, but then the other vendors were setting up and they had pretty much like that whole section of the park where the water and stuff is, and that whole parking lot just loaded with vendors. And they're like, well, next year we've already got like 3 or 4 times the vendors. And I was even approached by some of the people that were running it and was like, well, Sasha, we were trying to get a hold of you. And I'm like, you guys should know my email. I'm pretty infamous in the downtown area. I'm that loudmouth trans girl everybody likes to make disappear. I said, I'm not too hard to find. But they were like, yeah, we wanted more of the horror element like represented. And I'm like, hey, October's coming up. We could do something horror related in October. I said, maybe not this year because you want at least a good 6-7 months to set something up, if not a whole entire year. That way you can get guests and everything else. I was like, get at me after you guys are done with this event and we'll talk about something, hopefully not for this Halloween, but next Halloween. And so, knocking on wood, hoping that happens. Seeing if I can't use some of my contacts to get some other horror related people involved and some of the local film groups I know. So that could be interesting. So excited, but it was a nice mini con up until it started to rain. We were there at 10 a.m. I think everything was kind of shut down by 2 p.m.
But still, 10 to 2 is a decent time frame.
But it was nice because, again, I was there in unofficial capacity, and apparently, I guess, between OnlyFans and YouTube and my normal reputation, because a lot of people come up to me and were talking to me and conversing with me, and they're like, wow, you're not what I expected. And I'm like, good, I'm glad to disappoint. But yeah, it was really interesting because even Willow was like, wow, a lot of people in town seem to know you. I said, that's not always a good thing. You know, I said, there's a thing as fame and there's a thing as infamy. And I said, I have more infamy than I do fame, but I'm hoping one day.
I probably have a lot of infamy in my downtown area too, because of how I view things and, you know, my thoughts on some of the things, how they're run in the downtown area.
Well, it kind of goes back into the whole pride thing with me because, like, the reason why I was hostily taken over, because heaven forbid a loud, angry trans woman runs pride in town. And it's kind of like, wait, loud, angry trans women were the ones who threw rocks and bricks during Stonewall. Oh, yeah, but you guys erase them from history, too. Totally understand. But that's life. But it was nice to go to a mini con, even though it was like for 4 hours. And even though there were some odd people out toward the square, I thought the food trucks were going to be there. Food trucks were only scheduled for Sunday. I don't know why they didn't do Saturday and Sunday, because to me, it's like, I don't want to go to a food truck thing on Sunday in downtown Chambersburg. It's kind of like you got the churches letting out. You're going to have all the oddballs out there. I'm good. I'd rather have it on a Saturday. That way I can get something good to eat and maybe grab a pint somewhere. But no, it was funny because Willow and I were running for shelter. And I'm like, where can you go where we can go and find shelter until we can catch a ride back to the house and not get completely drenched? And so we wound up over at Gear House. And it shocks me my kid knows more of the people who work there than I do. He's like, I'm in here a good bit. They make good food. They serve me a soda. They keep an eye on me. I said, groovy. I said, they might change their mind now that they know you're my kid.
I'm sure the usual band of idiots, I mean that lovingly, to each and every one of them, are going to be at Forest 8. Some people are. Hopefully, I could get an interview or two. Like I said, I'm there, like you, officially yet unofficially. I'll probably do my usual Reddit. I just got to get in touch with the person I want to get to my way up there, because I have 2 options. One option is she might not be there, going to be there all day. And I want to be there all day.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure I get everything, hang out with everybody. If I get tired, I could easily hang out in the food court. But the other two people and child that I'll have a chance to go with, it could be all day because the missus is a social butterfly, and I'll be like, cool, I could be here all day.
Is this Big C?
Yeah, Big C.
Okay,
His missus is very big social butterfly, so I could do that. Not to mention, I could probably get one interview in regards to somebody, but I'll have to see how I could finagle things.
George is going to be down there, and he's got that new short coming out, that Bobo.
Yeah, that clown.
Yeah,
clown thing. I could probably get something with him, talk to him. Like I might do some, like I said, I'll bring my tripod with me. I might just do some videos that way instead of gunning for a panel. Do a whole mess of videos, strip the audio, and post it kind of in between with what I do with you. Post the audio up that way, and post the videos up on YouTube. And who knows?
Well, best thing I can tell you, if you're looking for me, I won't be hard to find. I'll be wearing the official Princess of Darkness uniform, blood splattered, carrying Nocturne Nostromo, aka, or roughly translated, the Book of the Dead, and a puzzle box of a certain variety, and my machete and my shotgun sling.
Is there going to be a repeat of when was it, 2019 or 2018?
How so?
The whole meme photo that we
could do that.
I started.
I'm going to be blood soaked. I just don't know how well that's going to play.
What, you just hand me the puzzle block going, here, hold this.
Now it's going to be flicked all over my face and all over the clothes. It's going to make getting in and out of the movies pretty fun on that Saturday, plus any other venues I go to. That should be entertaining, but I'll enjoy it because it's me.
So it should prove interesting that weekend. I'll try to... what's coming out this Friday? Which movie?
The only thing I know of is that Big George movie's coming out. Evil Dead Rise came out this weekend, but I'm not able to see it until this coming weekend.
Yeah, that's true. I have to see if it's still playing in the theater by me.
Yep, I'm going to go
up the theater
catch it at Warehouse while I'm down in Hagerstown. I figure because the hotel check-in is like 3 p.m. and I'm like, well, that means we can go from the con till 11 to about 3, go drop off the stuff at the hotel or catch a movie beforehand and then go drop the stuff off at the hotel. But for some odd reason, the Valley Mall Cinema and Warehouse doesn't have any dates or information aside from Big George. I guess that's their big movie for next weekend. But yeah, they don't have anything listed for Evil Dead Rise or any other movies yet. It's like, go ahead and put that up there, guys, so I can buy my tickets, please,
I know it's because where I work and the theater's in the same plaza, I could easily just go to the theater, watch the movie, and just wander to work.
I think Guardians is also out this coming weekend, too.
I only probably have time and cash to watch one of them.
I'm just going to watch Evil Dead Rise. I'm not interested in seeing Guardians. After the last couple movies being 2.5 hours, and then you had James Cameron's, Way of the Water.
Way of the Water.
Well, he already ripped off the Avatar name. Might as well just...
that's what I called it. It's like Avatar.
Way of the Water.
Way of the Water.
Next, we're going to learn firebending.
We're reviewing Moana, Way of the Avatar, Way of the Water. That's what we're reviewing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be out there again, official, unofficial. But I think
I'll wait till it drops on like Disney Plus or something like that, and I'll watch it there.
I think a few of us are going to head over to 710 later in the evening on Saturday. So yeah. You need a libation and you want to chill with the Princess of Darkness, blood splattered in a nightclub, there's your opportunity.
Or if you want to take down the trip to the Martinsburg aspect, this goes to the listeners or the Princess of Darkness herself. If she feels energetic and sober, Head on down to Big Timber, and by the it's on Monroe Street. It's right next to the Berkeley Theater, and come down and toss some axes. Happy to have you.
Indeed, and it's just a fun time. Fun, it's healthy.
Hopefully, and if the folks who run the building aren't blocking crap next week, hopefully we'll have our dumpsters emptied, and I'll be less cranky when somebody does the rage rooms.
There you go. Sounds like a plan.
Now, just this past week, the owners of the property, the guy that owns the whole plaza, he's been clearing the back of the plaza, and when we had our dumpster scheduled, he decided, you know what? I don't like people roaming around in the back part of the plaza, so I'm just going to block shit off so nobody can get back there. And so therefore the dump trucks, the garbage trucks couldn't get back there to get any of the dumpsters because he has both ends blocked off. And I'm like, we have rage rooms. How the hell am I supposed to clean shit up and put the shit when the trash dumpster is full? And it's like, what way to make places lose money, mister? The one of your place looks like crap. Not Big Timber, but the plaza as a whole looks like crap.
Yeah.
But still, 4th State, for those of you who might be listening out of state or anything like that, 4th State is a local show, local to the Hagerstown area, or I should say the tri-state area, or the quad-state area.
And it's a cheap con. I mean, you go, like, for the whole entire weekend for one person, it's $18. That's not hateful, you know. I've seen bigger costs than that.
The thing is, I love going. A lot of folks say, "Don't go to the comment section." I go to the comment session because sometimes a fight's good, and that's how I got banned from a local Minute Mart one day. That's a story for another time. But the aspect is the local, I guess, Chamber of Commerce or some shit like that started promoting 4th State. And I went to the comments like, I wonder what people are saying, or is it all, hey, so-and-so, we got to go, or hey, so-and-so, you got to check this out. When somebody put up, it's like, I pretty much said, I ain't going because there's too many cosplayers being guests and not enough celebrity guests. Yeah, you do realize a lot of smaller events can't afford the big name folk that much. And in order for them to afford the bigger name folk, you have to show up.
Exactly.
Because the more people that show up, that means more money in their pocket and more money that they can invest in bigger guests. Granted, they're not going to get a Jason Ackles or, you know, someone like that, or, you know, an A-list celebrity, but they could probably move up from a E or D-list celebrity to maybe a C or B-list celebrity. So maybe we'll get one of these years Casper Van Dien.
No, thank you. I'm good. I would go just to troll him.
Hearing him one year at Awesome Con, it was weird because he was just doing his thing because he has a tendency, at least that year, he had a tendency of just shouting Starship Trooper lines, and within like him, it was another guest on that corner. Then on the other side, it was Jason Mewes. So you hear Jason Mewes counteracting. It was like a verbal war between the two of them. You hear, "You apes want to live forever," and over here, "Nagadooch." I'm like, oh god, this is going to be. It's like you want to get a lounge chair, a bag of chips, and a drink to watch the crap show happen. And another part of you is like, you want to stay away as far away from that shit as possible, because there's going to be some freaking drama that if you're a part of, you don't want to be a part of.
Exactly. Exactly. But like with this con, I mean, it's small. They have had like definitely some unique guests in past years. They had the guy who played Andy Barclay once. What's her name from Pretty Woman? Her brother that one year. I think you were there for that one.
Oh, yeah. We do not mention his name. I scrubbed his name from memory because he was a complete fucking asshole.
I'm
pretty
sorry.
Pretty much what happened is that particular year that he was there, he saw, I think it was for the movie, he saw the trailer for the movie, I think it was like Remnants or something like that. And he said, I want to be a part of that movie. I'll waive, I'll severely discount my fee for being a part of that. I think in the movie was in there for like less than a minute.
Less than a minute.
Less than a minute. Now, that particular year, I was having a tough year financially. Candy was having a tough year financially, and both of us were vendors. Pretty much, I was vending at that show. I was promoting the show that year. And we were hanging outside for a little while. We were discussing things like, yeah, we had a good year. We'll give it, we were telling Matt, we were telling everybody that, hey, tomorrow's iffy, we might not be here. If we're not here, give our table to somebody else that might need it, needs to spread out. And out comes the guy that was, spearheaded the movie Remnants, and he's like, yeah, well, he was talking, bragging that he got Roberts, for the movie and clipped this and that. He was all hyped, and he's letting us know, like, dude, that's cool, that's awesome. And out comes Roberts, it's like, and he calls Roberts over and says, yeah, this is, Martinsburg Madman and Big C. I was like, these are real good two guys. They run a podcast. Maybe you could, how would you like to do an interview with them, promote our movie and, promote yourself? So, and Roberts was like, yeah, that's great. See me tomorrow. And I tell Big Candy, it's like, listen, we were both like in shock, like, dude, we're going to have a, guaranteed interview tomorrow. If we do it, it's like, do you want to do it? It's like, I'm not twisting. It was one of those things like, I'm not going to twist your arm to do this. If you can't do it, I know because he was going through a rough patch. And I'm like, I'm not going to twist your arm. I know what, family, man. It'd be something like something was going on with you and Willow. And
right.
I'd say concentrate on, don't drag me up to, or having a fun day out if it's going to wreak more havoc with you and Willow. And so he calls the missus and he hashes things out, all that. She was ecstatic too. She said, no, go ahead, do it. And I'm like, all right, do it. And, I'll give you gas money and all that. We hammered it out. Next day we go up. All I had in my pocket that day was money for groceries for the week. That's it. Money not to be touched. And when things died down a little bit, that's when I went to Mr. Roberts and asked him, how about that interview? Yeah, he said, the interview would be great if you give me $5 for the interview. I went, what? Yeah, I want $5 for the interview. That's not what you were saying last night, man. But I want $5. I said, dude, I can't give you $5. That $5 I need for groceries. And he pretty much turned to one of the 4 state volunteers and he was like, can you believe this guy? He won't give me $5 because it's for grocery money. What a freaking loser.
Whoa.
I'm like,
not good.
And he was like that. I went to back to Big Candy. I was like, you won't believe this shit. And I told him what happened. He was like, what? I went, exactly. I pretty much, I felt bad for Big Candy. He was like, dude, I felt like I twisted your arm to show up today, bring you all the way up here. I had you twist, we both kind of convinced the missus to have you come back up here and all this. He's like, dude, don't feel bad. And he's like, that's fucked up. And he called the missus and she was like, what? And he was like, yeah, that just happened. Because, if this was something that was said like the night before, we were like, yeah, he's going to charge us $5. Let's not do it. Both of us are going through a rough patch. Let's call it a day. We got some great content today and just, head on home, chalk it up as a win. But for the most part, that second day, I think I got 2 more panels and I got another interview or 2 that day as well. So it was another win. And he said, that Big Candy was like, don't fret it. Fuck them. Fuck them. You got, 2 extra interviews out of today? You got 2 or 3 extra interviews out of today? You got an extra panel out of today? You got more than enough freaking content. So, fuck them. Fuck them. Yeah, it sucks. And it wasn't your fault. It wasn't our fault. Everything else. Fuck them. Leave them be. And it's just that, and from what we heard later, granted, this is all hearsay, it was, you mentioned Remnants. It's like, Remnants, what Remnants? We don't know anything about that movie because it now has a bad rap. There's like bad blood, and it was mostly because of him. They inserted a scene because he wanted to be a part of it. So
that's nuts. I'm sorry all that went down with me that it did.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. I think that was one of the years that what's her name was there? The original Gaeta was there. Tony Todd's sister.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah. I was just talking to her today. I feel like such an asshat. I can't think of her name.
Yeah, it escapes me. She's a wonderful woman. Wonderful, wonderful woman. Great personality. One of these days, I hope to God I go to a con and Tony's there. And I could just go up to him and go, hey, Tony, how's your sister?
I talk with her husband more often than I do her.
Yeah.
I know her husband goes by the nickname of Saint, and he's back on the internet. And
I saw both of them last year. Her and her husband last year at the filming for Zero, and they were both a hoot. Getting her I got her rolling last year on set because one of the folks was in full zombie makeup, and she and her husband was like, Saint was there taking photos, and the person who was in zombie makeup was like, I want my photo. And she was literally overacting, and I'm making it look like I'm holding her back. I'm like, dude, take the photo. I don't know if I can hold her much longer. She's like a spider monkey. As soon as I said that, Gaeta just lost it. She was on the floor. She couldn't hold it back. Both of them were laughing hysterically. So it was just fun times. Fun. She's good people. I'll promote her. Every time Impact is on, because she used to be a wrestler on there or manager. Both. I think she was both a wrestler and a manager. Kind of like how Jesse L. Green, Captain Decapitate is. And so every time Impact is on, it's older episodes of Impact Wrestling, I always look up and see if I could spot her. But that way I could shout to everybody, I know that bitch. She's a wonderful woman.
Yeah, Monique is awesome.
Monique Dupree, she's a wonderful woman. So, again, Fourth State is a wonderful family. It's always great meet folks, and it's one of those things you actually see a lot of the same folks go to the same shows in and around the area. Sometimes I know Dan Noakes was a part of Fourth State for every now and again. You go to one show or not, you see Dan. It's like, hey, Dan, how you doing? And so everybody's like on a first name basis because it's the usual band of idiots doing the same grouping of tours everywhere. So It's always fun. It's a cheap show, with value. There's loads of stuff. There are things. Are there things at 4th State that are questionable? Yes.
Yes.
I'll say that
all the time. But that's with any con.
It varies depending on what you want to look at. Like me getting into D&D over the past few years. I think they're going to be there again this year. They were selling like 3D printed dice towers, and I told Big Canyon, it's like, see that dice tower that they're selling for $40? He's like, yeah. I don't know if they have a vendor license for that, because a lot of places that do Kickstarters or Patreons, or sometimes when you buy the STLs through an actual vendor, major company, you can buy a vendor license that you can make it yourself and sell it yourself at a show. And this particular vendor, I don't remember seeing a vendor license for that particular item. So it could be bootleg stuff, and it's one of those things that's a possible gray area.
Mm-hmm.
And because if they don't know, I can get away with it. And it's not like, I have this book, and yet if you open up the book, it's a word for word copy of like The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or a Stephen King novel, where it's a blatant copyright or a blatant rip of a mainstream movie, like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 or Evil Dead Rising is going to be on the table. That's blatantly obvious. 4th State's not going to do that, but something like a book or something that's blatantly obvious, yeah. But if it's something like what I have in my hands, for the folks at home, it's one of those charity cookbooks, and it's the best thing. It's one of my weird things, hobbies. I collect these things. But side note, because I just got distracted, Dylan on TikTok does the recipes on these type of books. He's an awesome creator. I love his content because he always tries. I think you might have seen some of his stuff on YouTube. I shared some of his videos.
Yeah,
he does great guy, funny guy. I love his content. I'm going to buy his book. I want to buy his cookbook. But
another topic we want to kind of jump in tonight.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Let's touch on what's going on with Netflix of late. Now, granted, we've been hearing rumblings about this for a long while, but Netflix is going to finally do away with password sharing. So if you have an account that you share with somebody, that's in another. If you've got hoes in different area codes who are using your Netflix account, be prepared to pay $6 per user, additionally on top of your regular monthly fee.
The Netflix is current flip. They've been flip flopping more than a politician, because they've been like, yes, no, maybe, yes, no, maybe, no, yes, no, yes.
Well, they tried to do this a couple years ago, and obviously there was an outpouring and outcry. But here's the thing: when it comes to the history of Netflix. Netflix started as a DVD Blu-ray service where you got stuff in the mail. Streaming only came later. It was weird because they, even as early as basically the PlayStation 2, there were prototype discs for both PlayStation 2 and PSP, so you could stream your Netflix movies via that disc. They even had ones for the Wii, and now those discs are worth a ton of money, which I thought is kind of interesting. But like streaming was something that you initially got for free with your monthly membership of no matter how many discs you put out each month. And they slowly and progressively starting to decrease how many discs you could get out because they noticed they were getting a ton of viewership on streaming. Then they tried to separate the DVD from the streaming aspect. Now they're finally, as of September, telling anybody who still gets DVDs to pound stand because they're finally doing away with that completely. So if you're up in Alaska or BFE where your internet sucks and you're used to get the Netflix mail service where you got your discs and your Blu-rays, that's going the way of the dinosaur as of September. Now, again, they've threatened to do this in the past, but that might change because there has been a bit of
with the DVD, sorry to interrupt, with the DVD aspect, it might be one of the few things that they kind of continue because, or if they continue it, it's going to be in select areas, meaning you have to be in Alaska or you have to be in Pig's Tail, Wyoming, or something like that.
Well,
someplace.
See, with that, being the kind of vulture I am of media, I can only imagine the massive sale of DVDs and Blu-rays that they're going to be having to sell from their back catalog. Because if they're not doing it statewide anymore, and it's only limited to a few areas, they're going to liquidate a lot of those physical media assets and definitely sell them. So I'm curious as to, like, in September, if there's suddenly going to be a site on Netflix where you can click to buy certain movies. And I'm going to be all over that, because when Redbox did that with video games, you could get new video games right when they discontinued having gaming on Redbox. You could get brand new games that only came out a couple weeks before when the sale started for like $5. And it was crazy. But I'm curious about that aspect if and when it happens, because they've tried to do it before, because they tried to integrate a third party and then they said no, and then it's interesting because that's.
And the thing is, if they do sell off a bunch of the movies that they have, the physical copies, it's going to literally short the market. Meaning, clean over, what movie is this? Oh, Real Genius. Okay. I doubt this DVD copy of Real Genius is worth anything.
Right.
But there are copies out there of, I know offhand, Dogma is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot find a DVD or Blu-ray copy of Dogma that's current. You cannot go online on Amazon and buy Amazon Vudu or Apple TV and buy a digital copy of Dogma, because the rights to it are strictly owned by the only, the perverted asshole Harvey Weinstein.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of doing not just jail time, but he's doing this with the rights.
It's kind of like the same thing with Fright Night Part 2. The DVD for that has gone for ridiculous prices, like $90, $100, $200, because one of the producers with the films who owns the rights was involved, was one of the victims of those two killers that off their parents.
But the thing is, if Netflix, my point is, if Netflix has, let's say, 1,000 copies of Dogma, if Dogma, or let's again use this copy of Real Genius, let's say this copy is worth $50, and they have 10,000 copies of Real Genius, all of a sudden that goes on the market. This goes down from $50 to maybe $10 or $2, because all that content, all those DVDs are now on the market.
But here's the thing with that, and I hate to be the shady person here, but Netflix's return policy has always been interesting. Now, I'm not saying me personally have ever done this, but I am saying that there have been a few people that have kept DVDs and say that they've mailed them back because they were particularly rare titles, and they just never mailed them back.
The ALF miniseries that kind of tied things up is one of those DVDs that if your name is on the list to get that DVD, you're not getting it because so many people have, those who have rented it and got the DVD in the mail, the set in the mail, they're holding on to it. They don't want to let it go because no one else
has it.
They can't find copies of it. So you don't know exactly what the story is or anything like that.
Again, not saying that I have done such things, but such things occur.
You're also known to help out Uncle Tony in a way sometimes too.
Yes.
But
there are ways that things can be copied and saved, but the problem of it is people want original copies, because no matter how often you reproduce a DVD, let's say, or a Blu-ray, it's not going to be the same quality as the disc that you had.
right.
But I will say, ironically, I did recently pick up Dogma on PSP UMD for $10. So.
In regards to the whole streaming aspect, is that it's not just what they're not looking for is that if you have, let's say, it's you and Willow in your house,
mm-hmm.
you Willow and Al in the house, you might have 3 profiles on your TV for that.
Right.
One for you, one for Willow, one for Al. Netflix thinks that's fine. That 3 profiles, 1 TV. What they're looking at is IP,
mm-hmm.
and that's where is pissing off a lot of folks that know IP. Meaning, if the IP might change, meaning when I watch Netflix on my PS4, my IP. When Netflix sees that, it might see it as a different IP, therefore a different account. Yet it's the same account. Or if Willow watches Netflix in his room, I apologize, no disrespect to Willow, in their room,
right,
it might show up as a completely different account, yet Willow is watching their chosen content on their personal device.
But so far, none of the other streaming services have really dug into this a whole lot. Like, they'll put a cap on how many different people you can have use your profile.
Right.
Which I think Netflix should do, because, hey, if I have, for example, a premium account with Netflix and I can have up to 6 users with the same whatever, then I should be able to let up to 6 people use that without an additional charge. Or 3 or 4 or whatever the cap is. And the thing of it is with, this is my opinion of it, because the only reason I found out that like Netflix was going to be doing away with this is I was considering maybe getting back into doing the DVDs. Now, when I had started their DVD program, it was 5 at a time a month for $9.99. And of course, that was back when I was running the old copy mill, where I would rip my copy from the original, mail it back, and then that way I was constantly getting new movies on a regular basis. I just watched them at my leisure. But you can't do that anymore, because even if you signed up for DVD within the last couple of years, I think the most you can have out at a time is 2. And it's still like $10 or $15 a month. And granted, yes, you could potentially get more a month than just those 2, but it just depends on how long it takes to get back, what all movies are in your queue, what they're going to send you next. And so you may only get, let's say, 4 or 6 movies a month if you're lucky. And when it was at 5 at a time, you could get a ton of movies all at once. I can see why they kind of cut back on it, but also you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. But there for a while, I was debating it. I'm like, Redbox does charge this amount, to rent a one-off of a movie, whereas I could sign up for Netflix and Blu-ray, and then all of a sudden, we're going to be ending this service in September.
Yeah.
It's like
the other argument in regards to the streaming aspect is not just the possible of different IPs in the house, is that I've heard reports of folks to kind of bring things down to more of a instead of upper class, but a more of a middle class type thing. There are folks known in this country known as snowbirds. They travel something. They during the summer, they live in northern states like Pennsylvania, Jersey, New York, Maine, in and around there. And during the winter months, they move closer south.
Right.
Like Florida, maybe Arizona, someplace that's typically warmer. It's mostly the older generations that are doing this, but that's where the whole aspect is like, hey, in my state of, like here in West Virginia, you might have Glow Fiber or Xfinity. In Florida, you might have something completely different. And Netflix, again, sees that as, hey, you're sharing your password. No, it's my password. It's my account. I just live in 2 different states, during the year. I live in 2 different houses. You're, in essence, charging me for 2 accounts. Now you charge me an extra $6 a month for an additional account, yet it's the same account, same profile. It shouldn't matter, but you have a lot of, and this is where the whole flip-flop thing is coming on. It's like, oh, we won't do it here in the States. We won't, but we'll do it elsewhere. And yet people keep bringing up the whole aspect of, but in years past, Netflix has endorsed password sharing. So
exactly.
But then again,
it's a mess because like right now, I mean, Disney Plus isn't enforcing anything like this yet, nor is Hulu, which is part of Disney. HBO Max isn't doing that. And to me, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I understand putting a user cap, like you can only have this many users that are using it, and then you can have like a separate PIN or a separate login for each user. And I think that would be a better way of handling that than just saying no extra IPs. And it's just going to be problematic. But right now they've got to the point where they've made many changes and have decided, hey, we've gotten away with, let's say, 10 or 15 changes within the last 10 or 15 years because they've been around since 25 years now. And most people, there's an initial dip, but most people come back from the service that we're presently offering.
To kind of bring up a point with you, because the question you brought up in chat is that, could it bring back DVD rental stores?
Right. And I would love to see that happen. I know there's been jokes and rumors of Blockbuster coming back, but I'm going to be honest, I didn't like Blockbuster's content. I was more about mom and pop content because they always had.
Here's the thing. Granted, places like mom and pop, I would love to see a mom and pop shops come back, make a comeback. That way you'll have companies like the independent places like Slasher 15 and Darkstone Entertainment make a surge and see local filmmakers be in rental stores. But with the whole, we kind of have it in a way,
right?
Is it a brick and mortar independent mom and pop shop? No, it is Redbox. They are everywhere. They are in Walmart. They're in front of Dollar Generals. They're in.
But the problem with Redbox, and this is one thing that I can say 100% certain, if you want to watch a classic that for some reason isn't popular right now, you aren't getting it from Redbox. Like, let's say, for example, I want to watch the original Ghostbusters. Not to say that I don't already own it on several different formats. But if I wanted to, I could not go to a local Redbox and get the original Ghostbusters. I want to watch Casablanca. You show me a Redbox that has Casablanca, and I'll show you that you're full of shit. Name any other movie that's not trending or popular right now that doesn't have a remake or a sequel to it. The likelihood of finding it at a Redbox is going to be slim to none.
And the good thing is,
video, for example, like just a little bit above where you live. Is it above or below? But Hancock, Maryland. Because when I lived in Berkeley Springs, West V, I would ride out to Hancock, Maryland to rent movies. There is a huge video store there. It's still mom and pop. It's still open now. And they have every format you can imagine: VHS, beta, Laserdisc, DVD, Blu-ray, everything. And so if there's something weird or odd that you want to watch, chances are they have it. And if they don't, they'll have it there in 2 weeks. And to me, I'm like, you can't get that service from Redbox. You can't get that from Netflix. Right. You can't get that from Vudu, because even Vudu has limitations on what titles you can get. And yeah, you can sync your YouTube with your Movies Anywhere and with, Vudu, Movies Anywhere, and
there's things right now that I had the physical aspects of those movies, but because I have space issues, it's where I can fight the aspect. I understand the aspects and arguments for physical copies, but with my space being so small, I can also argue the aspects of digital copies. And what irks the hell out of me is that, and not just that, it's like the aspect, one of the ups of digital copies is that, hey, if I'm laid up in the hospital again for 2 weeks, all I have to do is, if I have this on me, my tablet or my phone, I could just pull up Vudu and I could watch a shit ton of movies, TV shows that I have on my Vudu account or Netflix or Disney Plus without, worry. But the downside is you have movies like Pump Up the Volume, Night of the Comet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, going all the way down the line that have not yet made it to Amazon, haven't made it to Vudu, haven't made it to Netflix, haven't made it to Disney, etc. The only place you can watch the old school Muppet Show is on Disney Plus, though. There is no.
I think all DVDs. Of Alf right now is setting on Shout Factory, and so is Night of the Comet.
Is Shout Factory similar to Vudu, or is it similar to?
It's a free streaming service.
I might have to one of these days invest in a Roku device, because we are going to visit the store. You said it was Shout
Factory. Shout with an exclamation point. And that should be one of the apps or streaming services in one of your things. Tubi has a lot of movies. Pluto TV has a lot of movies that are free.
No, it's not on. That's the thing, is that Roku has a lot of apps that will have it, but the Xbox and PlayStation will not have Shout Factory.
Hold on here. Xbox Shout streaming.
I know. I just looked it up on my Xbox. It's not there.
If you can get on their webpage, you can just go to Shout Factory TV.
But I would need a Roku device. I don't have a Roku TV.
Oh, hold on. Online, Shout Factory, or smartphone, tablet, connected TVs via apps. Huh, that's strange. Because I could swear I had Shout on my PlayStation at one time. I know Popcorn Flicks and stuff was on Xbox for a while.
That's the thing. Popcorn was on. I remember seeing Popcorn. I remember seeing a whole mess more of video stuff on both PlayStation and Xbox. And all of a sudden, when things kind of moved over to Xbox One and then on, or from PS3 to PS4, a lot of the apps did not make it for some weird reason. So, and it's just like, well, that kind of sucks. But
yeah, no, like once you get a cheap Roku or something, like the world is your oyster. Because I can tell you now, like I watch a heck of a lot more YouTube, Vudu. I watch a lot of Pluto TV and Tubi, TUBI. That is a great app too. And yeah, some of them have commercials, but for a free streaming,
yeah. And apparently it's not on Google Play.
That's weird. I'll have to send you some links later, but there are alternatives. But to me, even some of those alternatives don't have options where you can download the movie if you know you're going to be somewhere without a steady connection. And that can be a problem, especially with streaming. Because I know in West Virginia, at least not in the Martinsburg area, maybe. But when I lived in bumfuck Egypt, West Virginia, Berkeley Springs, like the options for, internet was very limited. We had like a satellite service for internet, and just like satellite TV, it would rain, you get snow on the dish, you were fucked.
Yeah. That's just sad things. But and the thing is, right now, if it wasn't still hard to do, and if more people would go out to do it, because depending on who you listen to and a lot of folks are saying, well, services like Disney, Hulu, Vudu, Amazon, and Netflix are starting to die now. Yes. They've seen their run back in 2020, and they saw that and said, hey, we're all inside, we're all watching streaming services. Congratulations, we're all making all this money, and all of a sudden, here it is 2-3 years later, and everybody's going out to do stuff. They're going back to the movies, like with the Super Mario Brothers,
Evil Dead Rise, because that was originally supposed to go to HBO Max, and they were like, no, because based on the festival buzz, they're like, it's going straight to theaters. You're gonna have to wait before it hits HBO Max.
So you have more and more movies going back to theaters because people are going back to theaters, and a lot of streaming services from, again, Disney Plus to HBO Max are kind of scrambling and pulling out hair. What do we do? We're losing money. We're losing. Investors are pissed. What do we do? And yeah, you're doing this to yourselves. You bit off more than you can chew, and
they're spread too thin because
they spread themselves too thin, and it's going to be hard for folks to go back to a video rental place like in mom and pop, either in Hagerstown, Chambersburg, or
Hagerstown still has a Alaska store.
But it'd be easy to do if you had the money. You walk into a pawn shop. Clear them out.
And even like a local libraries these days have some videos and Blu-rays and DVDs. It may not be the latest release. You might be on a wait list for something really good. Heck, I even think they do video games now in some libraries.
Yeah. The Martinsburg Library does not just books, they do comics, manga, videos, both Blu-ray and regular DVD, and they do video games. They have PS3, PS4, Xbox 360. I think they got rid of the PS3 stuff, but they have PS4. I think they have PS4 stuff, Xbox One stuff, and Switch stuff. They might still have Wii, but I haven't wandered that section fully. So they have a wide variety of stuff. I know the one of the extra Xboxes, I had the black one that the HDMI port fizzled out on me. I gave it to a friend of mine and like, hey, if you're able to fix it, wipe the drive, and if you're able to fix it, it's yours. Just wipe the drive, because he had for the longest while he's been using an old 360, and so it's an upgrade for him. And he wiped the drive. He put his account on it, and he's having a blast. And so because that Xbox One X, not Series X, folks. Xbox One X has I think yours that I gave you has a drive in it. He's able to wander up to the library because he's a little bit more broke than I am, and he's able to check out a DVD, a game, pop it in his system and play it off the bat. So he's ecstatic, and he has a friend that he's doing the same thing that you're kind of doing with me, is that his buddy has a bunch of games and has Game Pass that allows him to mooch off that way. So he's having a good old time. I haven't seen him around the usual haunts because he's been at home partaking in a lot of the not old, but a lot of the Xbox One stuff. As a matter of fact, I think he might be, he's playing Assassin's Creed right now.
Well, the funny part of
he's having a blast.
And I know it's terrible because I have the Xbox you gave me. I've got the PS4, but lately I've been more on my PS3 because I've been finding games for that for like $1, $2, $3 a head. And heck, I've even just recently revisited the original Dead Space, and I'm having a blast. And there was stuff I guess I must have had for it that I don't remember having. And it's still on my PlayStation account, so I was able to download it onto the PS3. And I'm like, oh, wow, I've got all these awesome guns and extra suits ready to go. But no, there's something to be said about retro gaming, even if you're on a budget.
And speaking of retro gaming, that's my next major purchase for next month, even though it came out already for the PS4 or the PlayStation side of things, and that is the Pixel Remaster bundle. Okay. It's going to be $75. It has all the first 6 Final Fantasy games all in one bundle. So it's like, I gotta wait 2 weeks. Son of a bitch. But I can wait. I'd rather be with family for a little while and eat cereal.
Well, maybe when we come back for, not the next weekend, obviously, but the next couple weekends, we'll be able to touch on Dead Island 2, and we'll be able to touch on that.
So I've been playing Dead Island 2. I haven't, because of how things are going to fall tonight, probably after this, I'll be hopping on my computer and working on some of the past stuff that I have to do on my end for the show. And once I'm off the next 2 days, so between tomorrow and Tuesday, and probably before I have to go to work on Wednesday, and the rest of the week, I'll be working on Dead Island, getting a little bit further into it. And there's a lot of likes, dislikes, and quirks that I could rant and rave about in regards to it. So it'll give me more time to fiddle with it. And Sasha wanders off.
No, I'm back.
No, that's your front.
All right. But anyway, we'll go ahead and wrap up for tonight. Anything you want to plug or promote aside from our come this weekend to 4 State?
I have new videos up on the YouTube channel, one of which is the opening and trying on of this mask that you have seen. And over the next week, stay tuned to our my show's audio side of things, where you'll hear some of the archived stuff of our past episodes and conversations with Sasha, plus a promo thing with our before we post up the reboot thing with Kenny. There will be a retro episode that we did with Kenny a few years ago as a lead-in to that, so stay tuned to that. Plus, I might pull something in regards to 4 State this year, but I don't know. I've been posting up a lot of links on our Facebook page in regards to stuff that's no longer available through iTunes, Spotify, and Google.
Now, as my OnlyFans already know, who will get to see this video first, you guys are the ones who always get the raw, unedited, unfiltered content, which is kind of my bonus to you guys. You get to see all the wonderful flubs and everything before editing, and just a hair extra content. But if you're watching this on YouTube some weeks down the line, or whenever my lazy ass posts it to YouTube, keep in mind, if you want fresh content on the regular instead of the irregular stuff that you get on YouTube currently, pop onto my OnlyFans, easy to find. Just search for Sasha the Princess of Darkness. I assure you, it's not all porn. Sometimes you get a podcast. Sometimes you can get a cooking show. Support local creators and help us escape the tyranny of the algorithm of YouTube and other evil social media that's out there.
Yeah, that's right. Support local podcasters and smaller folks because we need love too.
Exactly. You know, so if you can get them direct from the source, get them direct from the source. A lot of us do this as a labor of love. Some of us, hey, it helps us afford a nice meal every once in a while.
and folks, if you want to hear all our past content and you want to hear all the stories of 4-state adventures, you could visit my show's main page, which is the Long Coat Mafia.podbean.com. All 350 plus episodes are up there, and over 6 years of 4-state stuff is there. So feel free to dive in and boost my numbers.
Indeed. And as always, you can find me on YouTube. I hate the algorithm, but it's still popular. Apparently there's a new podcast feature to YouTube. We'll have to play with that and come back to you all to talk to you more about exactly how that works at some later date. Anything else you want to add here, Madman?
No, that's about it. Just stay tuned for more content from Sasha and more audio stuff and visual stuff from me.
Check out his stuff. He says he's the most hated YouTuber and podcaster in West Virginia. I doubt that. You know, it's got to be the guy down the street who sleeps with his cousin and kicks the dog.
I try to be the most hated, but that's, again, a story for another time. Maybe not so much next week or the next time we get together to do this. We could get it.
We'll be back Sunday.
Yeah.
We'll be back Sunday. Maybe Sunday evening once everything's settled down. Because I know
we'll have Tales from 4-State.
Yes, and we may even have some tales while it's occurring. Don't know. Keep an eye.
And heck, like I said, I'll have my camera with me, and I'll have my audio stuff with me. So we could do audio stuff. We could do visual stuff.
We got it all. I got my cameraman / boyfriend coming along, and the kid's going to be there, so tons of extra hands for cameras and shooting stuff. I know I'm going to be shooting some of my Miss Blobfest entry while I'm down there, so anybody wants to be an extra or stumble in and be an a-hole and ruin some scenes, by all means, please do, because that's why I'm there. Anyways, as always, as we like to say here, take scare and creep it real and unpleasant screams.